joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gon' act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger just a
Hello, and welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this October 24th, 1 week from Halloween.
A scary one.
It'll be a scary. Well, Strange Man has disappeared on us, so I don't know if we'll be scared by him or not, but it could be scary out there for sure. 1 week away. But we are here after taking last week off as we regrouped, recovered from our 300th episode and all that was.
It was a great episode.
And now we are back and ready to usher in a new era at a new time. 7 o'clock. to 7:30, still a half hour, still the same day, still the same great channel, Channel 23. Bob Broad Jr., my right-hand man, is the new producer of the show, and he flexed his muscles and flexed the show to 7 out of the old 6:30 slot, but that's the way it is. He had to make a power play. We understand. But we got Bob here, and let's say hello to my right-hand man. We're going to try out a new camera shot as well.
Yes,
let's
I know.
If that works.
Unfortunately, we put a Jet thing behind.
I got to get the Giants
Jetson
jersey over there for you. Well, we were doing it on the fly.
I know. This is true. But hey, this is kind of comfortable. It's different.
You're lounging over there behind your cameras with your headset on, talking to our director, David Suero, El Diablo, Darkness, recovered from what ailed him in the recent weeks. But he's back and ready. And we also, with the new start time, Mike the Met Jet Maniac is here to start the show as well. And we got him mic'd up behind the cameras as well. So, Mike, how you doing over there?
I'm doing okay.
Besides the fact that Mike comes in saying this has been a terrible week for sports.
Yeah, especially New York sports.
Mike,
New York sports
the Yankees lost. It's not that bad. I mean, imagine if the Yankees had won.
I wasn't even talking about the Yankees.
Yeah, but I mean, that would make it even worse if we were dealing with the fact that they were in the World Series for you.
You heard the news today, Scott?
Girardi in Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
And the Mets are still talking to about half a dozen people.
Yeah, well, who are they? Oh, is Beltran the top choice, maybe?
No.
Or did they even interview him? Or he just said,
running.
But I think they're still looking for some of the former Mets to come.
Tim Bogart.
Yeah.
But no, Joe Girardi hired by the Phillies today. Of course, Joe Madden went to Anaheim, where he had spent about 30 years in that organization, way before he even became a Ray and a Cub. David Ross, manager for the Cubs, some guy I never heard of, hired by the Padres today. And the Mets still wondering and waiting to see who it will be. I don't know if I would have liked Girardi really here in New York. He's already done the Yankee thing.
He can always bring Joe Torre back. I mean, Joe Torre was a manager of the Mets back in the 70s.
Joe Torre's got his cush position right now in the baseball offices, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But we'll see what happens. And then in Major League Baseball, the Yankees are not in the World Series. The Nationals are. And holy cow, are they up 2-0 on the Astros? I found this to be a little bit shocking. The Astros were the heaviest favorite in a World Series since 2007, when the Red Sox were huge favorites over the Rockies.
Right.
I did not think this series was that much of a one-team prohibitive favorite. Of course, the Astros would be the favorite.
Right.
But why were they a humongous favorite over a Nationals team that knocked off the Dodgers, swept the Cardinals, had two equal aces in Scherzer and Strasburg to go up against Verlander and Cole, plus their third man is as good probably as the Astros, Corbin versus Wheeler is game 3. So, when you have that kind of pitching, and they have a much more balanced offensive attack than what the Yankees put forth. The Yankees are the home run friendly team. They couldn't hit home runs. They couldn't do anything. So I just didn't see why it was such a huge favorite for the Astros, and now first back-to-back losses all year for Verlander and Cole. And nobody had done that to the Astros all year. Cole hadn't lost since May.
I know.
An entire length of a football season, plus the playoffs would have gone by in the time that it's been since he lost last. And they beat him in game 1. And then they opened up the floodgates late last night, the big 6-run, I think it was, 7th inning, in a tight game. And they head back to Washington up 2-0.
Yeah, that was one thing I got was, now, I figured Astros are going to win 2 and at home.
Well, you figured they would at least split 1-1.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Cole is, all the talk in the postseason has been is about how great Cole is, And what's lost on that is the fact that coming down the stretch, most people have said Verlander is going to win the Cy Young.
Right.
And I thought, well, I guess with the way the series went against New York, Verlander couldn't have pitched game 1. But they kind of got themselves mixed up a little bit with Cole going game 1, Verlander game 2. I mean, you can't complain either way, but I think it all still goes back because Verlander has not been as great as he had been ever since they pitched him on 3 days rest in the opening ALDS against the Rays, which really screwed him up. And, he has not been as dominant since, and he struggled a little bit against the Yankees, even though they won that series. And now, gave up runs early, and then later in the 7th inning as that game got out of hand. So the Nationals now winning 8 straight playoff games.
Right.
Because they finished off the Dodgers by winning the last 2, swept the Cardinals for 4, and now the first 2 against Houston. That's the longest playoff streak since the Bo Sox in 04 and the Chi Sox in 05 also won 8 straight because the Red Sox reversed the curse by winning 4 straight against the Yankees and then swept the Cardinals. And I don't really remember who the Chicago beat in that.
Let's put it this way.
They did as well.
When they were the Expos, they couldn't. They made it only one year. They made it to.
Well, the year that they potentially could have made
it was the year of the strike.
It was the year of the strike. They were in first place, had a great team that year, and it was the year of the strike, and that was kind of the end of it. They never had a good chance, and then they ultimately moved to Washington. And since the 1930s?
Yeah, the Washington Senators had, that was the place to play back in them days,
Right. So, long time coming for Washington sports fans. Of course, we know their football team is a disaster.
Oh, they are 1-6.
0-6. Oh no, they did beat the Dolphins. But maybe something's going on down there in Washington. This can happen sometimes. The Capitals broke through, won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. The Mystics just beat the Connecticut Suns.
So maybe we have something that's cooking that we don't know about.
Maybe. DC United was eliminated, so the soccer didn't get it going. The football team we know is bad, and the Les Wizards, Les Wiz, not looking too good right now either. But so that's what's going on in baseball. The other thing I want to mention, I find this to be pretty surprising. I mean, the media people are they just want something to talk about. I mean, early on in the playoffs, the topic was, have they changed the baseballs and got rid of the juiced ball that we saw with all the home runs this year? I'm like, are you watching these games? Of course, they're a little bit lower scoring. That should be not that big of a surprise. These are the best teams with the best pitchers, after all. But all the games are being won by home runs. It's not like there's nobody hitting home runs, and it's kind of died down a little bit, but they were really trying to push that narrative early on in the DS and then early in the CS series. And I'm like, why? You guys are just creating this story. These guys are hitting bombs. The home runs that are hit are, absolute monster shots. And the games are being won by home runs. And that was one of the problems that I thought the Astros had, even though they beat the Yankees. They were doing it all on power. I didn't see any rallies. No moving of the players on the base pass, no stolen bases, no hit and runs. If they didn't hit a home run, they weren't getting any rallies at all. And the Yankees, the same thing, station to station, relying only on a home run, and the Yankees couldn't provide any offense really when they needed it. I mean, how about the Yankees? Their bullpen is their strength, right?
Right.
Do they have any other pitchers besides Chad Green?
Well, they have Octavino.
Who was terrible, but Chad Green was like in every big moment in the whole series. It's like he pitched every day. And then he started that game 6.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, who else is on this team? They won over 100 games, and Chad Green's got to pitch every day. I mean, come
unfortunately,
on. But they lose the bullpen game in game 6. And the game that went extra innings, where they could have gone up 2-0, that went extra innings. They were deep into the Astros bullpen, and they lost that game. So when it was their supposed strength, bullpen versus bullpen, they lost those games. They had won that game 1, then lost 3 straight.
So we will see come springtime if we will have see who goes somewhere else and who comes here.
Well, I mean, yeah, as far as your Mets go, I mean, the Yankees aren't going to make too many changes. They'll lose a couple players. I'm not too sure. All right, let's cheer Mike up, because I can just tell he's not in a good mood. So let's go through the decade as El Diablo starts rolling these pictures. First time in 100 years that the Yankees have not made a World Series appearance. So, and that's bad, but I mean, come on, they made a World Series appearance. That means every decade previous. So don't cry
in
me
the
too much
40s,
of a
the
river.
50s, the 60s.
But let's go through it. 2010, they lost in 7 to the Rangers. As Diablo is, he's lost on my pictures here. 2010 against the Rangers in 7, A-Rod case to end it. 2011 and 12, they lose to the Tigers. First time in New York. Second time Jeter injured in the first game. Remember, he rolled his ankle on that?
Right.
And the Tigers swept them in 2012, beat them in New York in 2011. In 2013 and 14, no playoffs at all, but plenty of farewell tours.
Oh, yeah.
We got to see Mariano, no playoffs on his way out. Pettit, no playoffs on his way out. Jeter, El Capitan, no playoffs on his way out for 2013 and 14. 2015, they kind of surprised everybody after those farewells and got lucky because really the record was pretty pitiful. But the baseball added that second wild card, which I think this was the first wild card game, that single game in New York, Houston, and this becomes a recurring theme for them as the decade went on. Shut out in a deciding game in New York. Keuchel shuts them out 4-0 in 2015. 2016, no playoffs, but more farewells. Bye-bye, A-Rod. Bye-bye, you're on the mark, Teixeira.
Yeah.
He's gone, but no playoffs for those guys on the way out. 2017, the new upstart young core group surprised everybody, made the playoffs, made the ALCS, made it to Game 7, actually had a 3-2 series lead going back to Houston in that series, scored 1 run in 2 games down in Houston, getting beat in Game 6 and shut out again in a deciding game by Charlie Morton, the Joe Barlow Reading native.
Yes.
In 2017, that ended him there. 2018, oh boy, Red Sox.
Red Sox
Game 3?
Yes, they dominated.
16-1 in the Bronx. Holy cow! Beat them 3 straight games, 3-1, and thumped them big time in New York. Another exit in New York. And then we know what just happened in 2019. How about that? Here's the shot where Springer just missed the home run. DJ LeMahieu ties it in the 9th. You think maybe they're going to somehow force a Game 7 and the Astros are going to be reeling. But no. Altuve, the mighty midget, wow, with the bomb off of Chapman to end it in the 9th. So gut-wrenching for the Yankees. And that's it. That's
so
all.
Now we go. We shall see
later.
you in 2020, and hopefully.
I don't know. I think these losses are going to sting. You got this young group that can't come through. You get that muscle memory where it's like you don't get the memory of a good thing, you get the memory of a bad thing. We haven't been able to come through. Didi will probably be gone. They're going to lose some players. Some of these guys who they've had on rookie contracts are now going to
CC will be gone because he's going to retire.
He's done. Their pitching staff, they're going to have to go out and get somebody. I mean, why haven't they got any big-time pitchers when they've been paying all these young players no money? All these guys have been making in the thousands.
Look at the beginning of the season. Almost the only one other than Gardner was out for the whole part of the season.
I don't know. We might want to look into the drug testing in MLB. Gardner's record-setting home run year for him, and also record-setting amount of tantrums.
Well, you mean the bat?
I mean, the guy couldn't keep himself together. I mean, and he's hitting home runs all over the place.
They had brand new T-shirts that were out just recently of that.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
But so,
hey, but that's one thing.
What do you guys think though going forward? Do you think the Nationals are going to just keep rolling, or do you think the Astros are going to get off the mat?
I don't know.
You know what? The Nationals are just on a roll right now.
They are on a roll.
I mean, Strasburg last night. I mean, he went 6 innings.
Yep, he was working hard. Over 110 pitches, and Scherzer as well. But these guys are locked in. They're going to go as hard as they can.
Mm-hmm.
They got great balance offensively, and they put together rallies.
Oh, yeah.
They hit home runs as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they also actually put together rallies.
Mm-hmm.
Crooked numbers on the board where guys are just rolling over the lineup. Next man up, next man up.
I'll say it goes 5 games.
5. You think they're going to finish it in 5 and not go back to Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Nationals are going to win it.
I think the Nationals got something going. We talked when we were here last that the Nationals, after that 11 and 31 or 19 and 31 start,
Right.
12 games below 500, they have had the second best record in baseball, only to Houston over the final 4 months of the season. And like we said, they've got starting pitching. 4 guys that can go.
Yeah.
Because Anibal Sanchez has pitched great as well.
They almost look like our Mets from the
Yes, they do.
Gongo, all back in the '86.
We'll see who your Mets get for manager.
We probably won't know until
Well, I don't know.
sometime
These other teams
November.
are making announcements. They can announce anytime they want, I guess. They're not really being held
there's
back
a
by
lot
the
of
World Series going on.
former
And
Mets
it's an
they're
off day
talking
today.
to. They've been talking to other former managers, but
Right.
I haven't heard nothing.
All right, before we get to
No.
football, I want to run through just a couple other things quick. We had been paying attention quite a bit to MLS soccer. So new playoff format caught me completely off guard. They used to play a 2-game cumulative series, but one and done, which has been bad news for the locals. First, the Revolution took on the defending champion Atlanta FC United, and they lost 1-0. They were out. Red Bulls led 2-0 and 3-1 to the Philadelphia Union. They lost that game 4-3. Ouch. So they're done. And then the number 1 seed had a bye, played last night, NYCFC, and they gave up a penalty kick late, 90th minute, to Toronto. Toronto beat them 2-1. Toronto had beat DC United in the opening round in a game that went to overtime. So it was tied 1-1. They go overtime. They scored 4 goals in overtime, unheard of. So Toronto is rolling, but the locals all out in MLS. We did want to touch on that. We did make a quick little mention, but WNBA did finish up with the Connecticut Sun going down to the reigning MVP. Elena Delle Donne got her first title for the Washington Mystic. And that coach, who's the all-time winningest coach and was a former coach for the Connecticut Sun, got his first championship in the WNBA.
Yes.
So good for them. And Elena Delle Donne, her backstory is tremendous. So I did, in a way, kind of want to see her get it done. And she fought through, bulging discs.
Right.
Blew out her knee. She's got a brace on her knee. She was wearing a mask on her face from broken bones in her face. I mean, talk about hockey players being tough. WNBA players are tough,
Speaking
apparently.
of WNBA, you know who's in Danbury on Tuesday?
No.
Rebecca Lobo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In
she-
Danbury, we're over at WestCon, or?
She was at they were at a breakfast.
Okay.
So
I
she was
missed
in
that one.
town.
And I did want to mention NBA did get underway. just mention it. Celtics underwhelming performance, poor shooting. Kemba did not look great in his first game in Celtic Green, as they got pretty much handled by the Sixers last night. Kyrie Irving, not really a surprise to see. Actually, totally predictable. After checking out early and often last year in Boston, you knew he was going to be checked in at least early in Brooklyn.
Right.
He drops 50 last night in Brooklyn. Oh, they lost in overtime. He missed the final shot, and they lose, even though he got 50. Kyrie Irving, come on, give me a break. Knicks got beat by the Spurs, but the big thing was opening night, the LA story. Clippers.
The Fakers.
Well, Lakers, but they lost to the new show in town, the Clip Joint, as Kawhi Leonard handled Bron and Anthony Davis, I think, combined for 2 points in the fourth quarter of that game. That's not going to get it done.
No.
Just a couple things quick on the NHL. It's early, but the Bruins 6-1-2. They had an interesting, tough schedule. They played the mighty Ning, lost a shootout in that one, and Toronto back-to-back in their last 3 games, lost in overtime and then beat Toronto. The Isles 5-3-0. Bruins, I think I mentioned 6-1-2. Devils 2-4-2. Rangers 2-4-1. Bob.
Yeah, I know. We're starting
Capo, what's going on?
We're starting out with the Giants, you
the
know.
Rookie sensation. He's unhappy with his minutes.
No.
He's only playing like 12 minutes a game. Unleash the rookie. He was like a number 1 pick, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Capo. College football, just going to run through this real quick, and then we'll let Mike go off on his Jets.
I'm sorry.
Bama, number 1. LSU, number 2. Ohio State, number 3. Clemson, 4. Oklahoma, 5. Penn State, 6. They are all undefeated. Other undefeated teams, number 14, Baylor. Why 14? Move them up. 16, SMU. SMU, undefeated. Wow. I mean, they had the death penalty way back in the day. Mm-hmm. They're undefeated. Minnesota also undefeated, 17. Appalachian State undefeated, ranked 21. Move those teams up. I mean, I don't get it. Just move them up. They can be 7, 8, 9, 10. You got a top 10 of undefeated teams.
Well, what about your Colorado State? That's a sore subject.
2 and something. 2 and 4 maybe. 1 game better than the Huskies. Big games this weekend: LSU versus Auburn, Ohio State versus Wisconsin, Penn State versus Michigan State, Notre Dame versus Michigan. Michigan now 2 losses. They lost to Penn State this weekend. All right, NFL, Skins at Minnesota tonight. Interesting, I just wanted to mention the schedule. First, last week, Washington had to deal with Kyle Shanahan, former offensive coordinator and son of former coach Mike Shanahan. He gave the game ball after that win in the tsunami that was going on down there to his dad to rub it into the Skins' face. And tonight they play Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. So interesting thing with the schedule. Another interesting thing I thought with the schedule, Patriots back-to-back weeks, prime time against New York football teams. First, the New York football Giants. That game was actually closer than the final score. Somehow they covered by scoring like 21 points in the last 3 minutes, basically. The Jets game, not close at all. Throughout 16-play opening drive, and then an interception, and then more points, and then more defense, and then more points.
Can we go on to something else? That's
Mike,
just a very sore subject.
What do you got for me? I mean, after the win against the Cowboys, I thought the game was going to be tight.
I don't know where to begin. I mean, Darnold looked like a high school quarterback. Gase had no clue as to what to do to stop the Patriots. Okay. And Bill Belichick enjoyed every second of it because he hates the Jets. Right. And so what he wanted to do, I'm going to blitz on just about every play because I see that you have nothing to stop it. And my thing is, Gase was supposed to be this guru. He had a winning record in his first year in Miami. What has he done?
Nothing.
I mean, it's been unbelievable. I mean, even the Bills game, they should have won that game.
Up 16-0,
but I mean, it's like, I'm trying to figure out what, like when you go in at halftime,
Right.
and you're looking at, okay, what's working and what's not working. When did it occur to you that maybe you should change something? Because he changed nothing.
He
and
had
then
no adjustments,
Darnold
no
gets
reactions.
Yeah.
What did you think about the? I thought, and I wasn't surprised that it did become a little bit of a story this week. The comment, Darnold mic'd up in the game, and they aired that comment of him on the sideline saying, "I'm seeing ghosts." That is not a good look for a quarterback.
No.
And that was, I thought, at the as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a little dicey. They're supposed to protect these players and not air certain things.
Right.
And they did not do him a favor by airing that.
No, they didn't, but he kind of set himself up for it because, correct me if I'm wrong, you're playing the Patriots next week. You don't say in one of the press conferences, well, when we get Chris Herndon back, our offense is going to be unstoppable.
Ugh.
And if you're Bill Belichick, knowing that's your next game, you don't think hey, defense, these guys think they're going to be unstoppable once they, let's show them how unstoppable, they can be.
And it makes that Cowboys win even more shocking. And the Patriots are hosting the Browns this week. Patriots remain undefeated, 7-0. San Francisco 6-0, the only two undefeated teams in the AFC. It's the Patriots 7-0, Bills 5-1, Ravens 5-2, Chiefs 5-2. Patrick Mahomes actually practicing this week after that dislocated kneecap. They got the Packers on Sunday night, I think.
Yeah.
Colts 4-2, Texans 4-3, Raiders 3-3. In the NFC, San Fran 6-0, Packers 6-1, Saints, and Breeze is finally coming back. I think maybe this week 6-1. Vikings 5-2, they're hot all of a sudden. Seahawks 5-2, Panthers 4-2, Rams 4-3, Cowboys 4-3, Cardinals after beating your Giants, Bob, 3-1 in the rain, and the Bears 3-3. So a little bit more depth right now in the NFC as far as the playoff picture and teams at or above 500 than in the AFC. Cardinals at Saints this weekend, Chargers at Bears, Eagles at Bills, Panthers at Niners, Oakland at Houston, Green Bay at Kansas City. Those are the big games. I was not surprised, I hate to say it to you, Bob, that the Cardinals beat your boy Danny Dimes. They're going to have to come up with a new nickname for him because he's not dropping dimes, he's dropping turnovers, picks all over the place. He's going to have to step it up. They're at Detroit this weekend, Jets at Jaguars, who traded away Ramsey but still got a good defense. Any optimism heading out down south there, Mike? As we only got a couple seconds left, I think.
If they're unable to stop the rush, because you just mentioned it, the Jaguars have a very good defense.
And they got Minshew.
Yep.
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. We won't be here next week because it's
happy Halloween to everybody.
Right.
We are off for the holiday, Halloween, out trick-or-treating. Stay safe, get some candy, and we'll be back after that, see who won the World Series. All right, take care.